What's going on, KG? Kevin Gray. The first edition of the Clear Path, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be joining this venture with you here. The Clear Path here on Fanatics View. Shout out to Taylor for, I guess, believing in the two of us for running this program. Hopefully, we'll make them happy and, more importantly, make the fans happy with this show. And looking forward to doing this all season long with you.
Well, I can tell you this: there are a lot of people who are happy about this tag team right now. They feel that this tag team is going to win a lot of championships. We're going to do a lot of great things. There are a lot of people when this was announced that were like, they're so happy for both of us. Like, there isn't a better pairing than me and you. At this point in time.
Now I feel the pressure. I feel like I got to make sure I live up to everybody's expectations, man. I put a lot of pressure on myself as it is. Hope I live up to everybody's expectations.
Well, we will, man. But hey, listen, man, we got to start off talking about, of course, the city we're in, the Big D. Of course, I got basketball on the background. I think in the background, I got the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. And yes, Kevin Durant and James Harden are playing right now. They are in the game. They are in the game. Although they're in Philly, but I don't think I see a certain somebody on the court, but we'll talk about him later. We'll deal with him later.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the so far we've had two Mavs preseason games so far. And I guess I'll start with you there, man. What have you seen that you've enjoyed so far from this new Mavs regime?
I think for me, especially the second game, a lot has been made about Kristaps Porzingis, what he has to be, what he needs to be, what he should be in order for the Mavericks to take the next step going into this upcoming season. And more importantly, once they get into the playoffs, everything hinges on KP's ability to be that second co-star, if you will, alongside Luka Doncic. And I think what was most encouraging to me so far through this preseason is that defensively, Porzingis is moving a lot better. You can tell he's healthy. He feels good. He had 3 blocks in the game in the first half against the Clippers. I mean, he really stuffed the stat sheet if you look at it. Had double-digit points. Had a couple of steals. Had 3 blocks. He was really doing a lot of the things that got him dubbed the unicorn. So I think what's been most impressive, because Luka's going to Luka. Luka darn near had a triple-double in the first half against the Clippers, on Friday night. So
and KP, he had 15 in the first half.
Exactly. So I felt good that Porzingis feels good himself and where he is in his game. And you could tell even by his body language, the way that he's interacting with his teammates, the way that he's interacting with us, that you could tell this is a man who feels like he's got a fresh start. And that's been my biggest takeaway so far through the first couple of preseason games, is that it's encouraging that Porzingis is looking somewhat like the unicorn that Jason Kidd has told us all the offseason long that he wants to get him back to as far as his days in New York were concerned.
Here's what I've enjoyed so far. I can tell that the team A has bought into Jason Kidd's message, one, with the way they're playing basketball, and B, I can tell that he has worked with Luka. I am seeing a different Luka on the court right now, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a big fan of it, KG.
Okay.
So far,
how so? I'm interested. How so?
So far, there hasn't been any step back jacking lately. I haven't seen any step back jacking, and when he does shoot threes, his threes are coming. Like Jason Kidd was saying at the beginning, he says, Luka's going to get his, but we want to make sure he gets other guys going before we let him get going. And in the Clippers and in the Jazz game, I've seen that a lot. One thing I liked it was the ball movement, and I liked the player movement. I liked the point that when Luka has the ball in his hands, players are no longer just sitting around watching him in awe and then standing there. Now the thing is when somebody passes the ball, they cut or they make a move and they're going somewhere and they're doing something. And the 3-point shooting is not a focal point of J. Kidd's offense, but at the same time, if the shot is there and it's open, you take it. The one thing I love about Coach Kidd is what's my guy Tim Hardaway Jr. I call him 3 to Hardaway. In the Clippers game the other night, he was starting to get a little. I guess he thought this was a 3 to Hardaway night, and Jason Kidd called a timeout and was like, "Hey, hold on, buddy. This isn't the 3 to Hardaway night tonight, okay?"
Well, THJ's a sniper, so he's always ready to go.
We like to refer to him where I'm from as a volume shooter. You know, so volume shooter. He's a volume shooter. Nothing wrong with that, but Coach Kidd's offense, it's going to allow you to shoot threes, but he wants them to be open threes. He don't want them to be contested threes. And there are times when Luka's getting his guys going, and then he comes down court and he's letting Luka say, I guess he giving Luka the green light and say, go ahead and do your thing. Go get your shine on for a minute. And then he kind of hones it back down, and we're back to moving the ball. KP looks happy. As he told you, he's got that green light in the paint, everything like that. So I really like what the Mavericks have going on. The only problem that's going to get them down the stretch is the roster. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is, so Kidd has talked about Kristaps Porzingis is going to play the 4, Dwight Powell is going to play the 5, and I think what a lot of folks are concerned about is offensively, things are pretty interchangeable on the offensive end. What it comes down to for me is on the defensive end, where Kristaps Porzingis playing the 4, Dwight Powell playing the 5, you've got an oversized power forward who has had trouble in the past with lateral movement, and an undersized center that could find himself in trouble, especially against the upper echelon teams of the West. Hello, Los Angeles. I'm talking about the Lakers, especially if they are really actually going to have Anthony Davis playing at center, playing this season for the Lakers, DeAndre Ayton, for the Phoenix Suns, Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets, Rudy Gobert, for the Utah Jazz. So there's issues that could arise defensively on that side of the ball. But I think for me, what's most important is, and Jason Kidd's talked about it, the accountability and chemistry of these players buying into Jason Kidd's message, as you were talking about. But more importantly, this team buying in to being better defensively, a team that last year was 21st in the NBA in defensive rating. You've got to find yourself in the top half of the NBA to be able to be considered a true contender as far as a championship team is concerned, especially when we know how good this offense we think is going to be. They may dial back some of the three-point shooting that they have done the last couple of years, but as long as they're efficient in the three-point shots that they take, because you didn't bring Reggie Bullock and Sterling Brown and these guys over, you didn't re-sign Tim Hardaway Jr. for them to not take threes. You just want them to be more judicious in their shot making to make things more efficient, so that Luka Doncic can find himself being more efficient in terms of the assists that he's getting or the passes that he's making and going that way. So there's a lot to like about what the Mavericks have done so far. I think what's interesting is going to be the combination of Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, Dwight Powell is going to remain that rim runner. He's an undersized center, but has continued to be a really good rim runner in this league for a long time. But then how the other pieces really fit around Luka Doncic, especially when we know last year his usage rate, especially in the playoffs, was over 39%. My man was getting wore down. I mean, basically they were running the Bel Air Academy offense in the playoffs. Luka, just take the ball and just do what you got to do, and hopefully these other dudes will knock down some shots. So Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, Sterling Brown, Reggie Bullock, all of these guys have got to find themselves playing their roles and doing so. Jalen Brunson included in that also, to make sure that they're giving Luka Doncic the kind of help that he needs, and more importantly, Porzingis being the kind of player that he needs to be also.
Right, and that's what Coach Kidd was saying, is that we want to keep Luka fresh for the fourth quarter is what we want. So with his offense, with the offense that he plans on running, that's what it's going to allow it to do. Keep Luka fresh for the fourth quarter here. So
yeah, that's the most important thing come playoff time. Yeah,
right. Because like I said, this roster, unless they make some moves or whatever, which they might by the trade deadline, you might see some moves here and there. I was just sitting back here watching Philly, and I was thinking, man, like now Danny Green would make perfect sense for this roster at this point in time. somebody like a Danny Green would make sense. For the roster. Just as far as 3-point wise and getting out there and getting it done. Of course, who I want here. I mean, we got to hope things go terribly wrong over there in Golden State, but as of right now, he's not going to come here. Of course, I love me some Klay Thompson. Love to have him in there.
That's real pie in the sky over there, man.
Yeah, as we say over there on my show, BFB, we have a jersey for him. If he were ever,
I bet you do.
We have a jersey for him if he ever wanted to step out there. But I'm happy about this Mavs season so far. At first I came into it gloom and doom, like I'm gonna be honest. I'm not. If they make the playoffs, okay, if they don't make the playoffs, I won't be mad at them because it's coach's first year. Coach's first year is always trade evaluation year.
No. You need to make the playoffs. This team has some real high expectations. Like I would be disappointed if this team did not finish at least 5th or better in the Western Conference. I mean, last year you go 42-30. You take the next step and taking the Clippers to 7 games. The expectations for this team is that if certain things break right for them, this is a team that realistically could find themselves in the Western Conference Finals this year. Like that is how good and how talented this team is. Now, the certain things that have to break right, namely, are Kristaps Porzingis being the unicorn and getting back to what he was defensively a couple of seasons ago, where he was, a guy who could get you 2 to 3 blocks in a game. But Luka Doncic, this is the thing about what's triggered all of this for the Mavericks. Luka Doncic wasn't supposed to be this good this fast. Right. You've got a 2-time first-team All-NBA player now who is a legitimate MVP candidate and will be so for the next 10 years. And that sped up the timeline of this Mavericks team to try and build around him to where this team should definitely be competing for home court advantage in the first round of the Western Conference this year. And that, I think, should be a lot of the expectation for Mavs fans going into this year, is that improving on what you were last year, especially if Porzingis is the healthy Porzingis that we've seen through the first couple games of the preseason. How long that lasts, obviously, during the rest of the regular season will remain to be seen. But no, this team should definitely be competing for at least a top 5 spot, especially avoiding the play-in, because the play-in is back as far as the NBA is concerned this season too.
That's going to be back. That's going to be coming back always.
Yeah, so you don't want to find yourself, in that territory of having to be a potential play-in team. So no, the expectation should be at least a top 5 seed, if not a top 4 seed or better, going into this upcoming season, I think.
I mean, I'll take you at face value of that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna be upset if they don't. Okay. The sky is definitely the limit with this team. But I wouldn't be hurt if they didn't make it. I understand what we're going through here. This is the coach's first year. So, as I said always, the first year is talent evaluation. Okay. So we have.
Well, Jason Kidd wasn't brought in here to evaluate talent. He was brought in here to help Luka Doncic go to the next level, and for Porzingis to get back to some of what he was, so that they could take the next step as far as the playoffs were concerned. I think a lot of Mavs fans would be quite upset if they found themselves not making the playoffs, especially knowing the expectations that Jason Kidd and his organization. Jason Kidd's a champion with the Mavericks. He wants to get there as quickly as possible, but it's a building process, yes. But at the same time, you got a 22-year-old superstar who he's not wanting to wait any longer, and nor should he, given the talent that he has and what he's able to do and what he's capable of. So, we'll see. But the Mavericks should be a top 5 team in the Western Conference for sure.
I won't argue on that. But hold on, I got something here. Let me bring this up here on the screen real quick, because I like numbers. Sometimes women lie, numbers die. Women lie, numbers lie. Sometimes they don't tell you the whole truth, though. That's just all it is. I just want to put this little deal up here and show you what not what people are saying, but okay. So now this is the standings right here, okay? And I'm pretty sure this is based off last year, okay?
This is last year's standings.
Last year's standings, okay? So you got the Jazz number 1, the Phoenix Suns number 2, the Nuggets 3, Clippers 4, Mavericks 5, Trailblazers 6, Lakers 7, Memphis 8, Golden State 9, Spurs 10, okay? So now out of those teams, let's be honest here. Who do we see falling down and coming back up for the man that can make the Mavs go up? Because those top teams right there, maybe Utah takes a step back, but other than that, those other teams right there, those are money teams right there.
Well, I think the Clippers take a step back because Kawhi Leonard's not going to be playing, most of this season. So I think the Clippers take a step back. I think the Portland Trailblazers take a step back.
Take a step back. I don't know what that's going to look like without Melo.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Melo was a big piece, but I'm just saying like that was their go-to gritty guy when they needed points.
Yeah, and I think the Golden State Warriors take a step up, but the Mavericks are right in there with the top 4 or 5 teams of the Western Conference. And like I said, Denver is not going to be having Jamal Murray as he's still recovering, from his torn ACL. I know they got the MVP in Nikola Jokic there, but at the same time, the Mavericks find themselves squarely in the mix for a top 4 seed. I could see them easily replacing the Clippers there as a top 4 team in the Western Conference. I think Golden State will be in the top 6, especially if Klay Thompson returns fully healthy from the torn ACL and the torn Achilles, because we know how good, Stephen Curry has been. But the Mavericks should find themselves firmly in the top 4 or 5 seeds. They should definitely avoid the play-in. Luka Doncic is good enough to where they should definitely not have to be in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range by the time you get to the end of the season. So I could definitely see the Mavericks replacing the Clippers right there as a top 4 team. Maybe in the 3rd seed if Denver slips back, even with Nikola Jokic being the MVP, Michael Porter Jr. and those boys out there in Denver. So the Mavericks are right there.
Okay, so in I guess we'll get to the standings later, but I you don't see any of these bottom teams coming up like a Sacramento or
well, Memphis has gutted their team. I don't know what the plan is there.
That was so dumb of them to get rid of Grayson Allen. That was so dumb.
I feel bad for John Morant because I don't know necessarily what direction they're going in. San Antonio.
You know what? I think them getting rid of Grayson Allen was to give. What was the kid who blew up in the playoffs?
You talking about Desmond Bain? Or are you talking about?
No, it the kid who he was a 2 guard. Everybody loved him in the playoffs. Like he stepped up big time, and I think them getting rid of Grayson Allen is going to give him more playing time. Was it Brooks? Was it Brooks? I think
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah. When he got off, I think they figured that if they got rid of Grayson Allen, that'll give him more playing time. Because they gave Grayson Allen a good chunk of minutes. But I think him and John Morant was working, honestly. But
I like Desmond Bain too. I think Desmond Bain's a good player, a good shooter, former TCU standout. But yeah, Memphis is going to take a step back. Like I said, Golden State takes a step up in my opinion. I think Portland takes a step back with a new head coach. Chauncey Billups, we'll see there. San Antonio, not sure where they are. They could sneak, into that 7, 8 range potentially. Greg Popovich, you never know what he is able to pull out of his hat there. But that's pretty much it, really. I mean, the top of the West is pretty much going to remain the Jazz, the Suns, the Lakers. The Lakers will not be in the 7 seed or the play-in situation this year. They're coming in fully healthy, a veteran-laden team there. So I like where the Mavericks are and where they're sitting based on what's come back to them and how they've improved. But more importantly, Porzingis, again, is going to be the key to their success this season.
So if I take the Lakers and put them at number 1, and I take the Clippers out and I inject them with Golden State, I'll take Portland out and inject them back with the Clippers. I mean, I guess you still have the Mavs in around the 6 or 7.
Yeah, the Mavericks will still be in that top 6 range. I mean,
okay.
I think the Lakers will probably win or be the number 1 seed in the West, in my opinion, followed by teams like the Suns and the Jazz. The Mavericks could be right there at the 4 seed, depending on what happens with Denver, and what happens with with them going into this season. So, again, the Mavericks should find themselves firmly in the top 6 of the Western Conference. I'm interested to see how Paul George goes about handling and shouldering the load for the Clippers this season, because he's going to be the number 1 guy this year with no Kawhi Leonard basically for the whole season.
He should be used to that by now.
Well, when he's been the number 1 guy, at times they've made runs in the playoffs, especially when he was with, the Indiana Pacers, but they played in the wrong era because your man LeBron James was standing there with the Miami Heat ready to knock him out, each and every year that he was in Indiana. So it's a little bit tougher in the West this year, and Paul George is going to have to be depended on as the number 1 guy there. We'll see if he can actually shoulder that load and be able to do so at this point in his career, and do so consistently night over night, because he's going to be their number 1 option this year.
Do you have a record for your Dallas Mavericks right now at this current point in time?
So they're going to be playing the full 82 games again, starting this regular season. I could easily see this team winning 50 games. So I'll go 50 and 32. I feel like that's good math. Yeah, 50 and 32 for the 82 games, and be firmly in the 4 or 5 seed this year. But this team should win between 47 and 50 games this year after going 42 and 30 last year.
I got him at 45. I'll give him 45.
That's it?
Yeah,
45 and 37. That's
45 wins. 45 wins.
That's only 8 games above 500.
Well, you got to understand something here. Okay, our roster's small. We're gonna have to deal with some injuries at some times. You know,
every time we have to go through some of that stuff, but
it's still. But when you look down our bench, there's not anybody that I could just be like, that guy's gonna step up and hold it down. Now, I like the Eugene kid. He's got a lot of weight coming in here this season. I like
Eugene Omarui. Yeah, he's been good. Yeah,
but there's just some things that's
a little disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie, just a little disrespectful. 45 and 37. They went 42 and 30 a year ago. You don't think you think they only get 3 more wins in 10 more games this year?
Well, I was getting ready to say, hopefully we're not doing this whole KP is not playing back-to-back deal anymore either. That should be done with, right?
I would assume so. Let's just be real. There's gonna be some load management for Porzingis throughout the season. I don't think it'll be nearly as extreme as it was last year because they were nursing him coming back from the torn meniscus. All the things that he was coming back because he didn't anticipate the season starting as soon as it did. But I think there will be some load management for Porzingis. That's just part of what comes with him as a player. But I don't think it'll be nearly the extreme as it was in years past with him.
I mean, that's fair, but 45 is fair. 45 is fair.
That's a little low, but okay, I'll let you have it. I'll let you.
I am accounting for things that I know that will happen. Okay, we got to deal with injuries. There's just gonna be some like back-to-back nights. There's gonna be some nights Luka's not gonna play. There's gonna be some nights Porzingis not gonna play. That's half of my L's right there.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, 45 for your number's a little bit high, but I get it. You like the Mavericks. They're your team.
I think that's fair. I think 50 wins. I think the 50 wins is fair. 50 and 32. That's a good record. It's a damn good record for especially in the tough Western Conference. It's a good record.
You count on a big trade happening or something coming.
No. This is regardless if they get Goran Dragic, who a lot of Mavs fans still hope that he gets bought out or
I forgot all about that. Why did you even bring that up? I thought we forgot.
Well, because that's still a very real possibility that by the time we get to the All-Star break, the Raptors and Dragic work out a buyout and he finds himself, on this team. So I don't think it'll necessarily happen before the All-Star break. I would be shocked if it did. But that's still very much a real possibility because we know he wouldn't mind playing with Luka Doncic. So, we'll see what happens, by the time we get to the All-Star break. But regardless if he comes or not, I think 50 wins is a very fair expectation for this team, knowing what they've brought in to help Luka Doncic, but more importantly for Porzingis to be the player they expect him to be.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Does Goran Dragic start when he gets here?
No.
He doesn't?
No. He's at the point in his career, he's a bench player. He is not a starter in this league anymore.
So we're doing all this hype for somebody that's coming off the bench.
Well, this is for someone who at this point in his career can provide you solid secondary playmaking off the bench, a veteran guy who's been there in the playoffs and understands what it means to be a teammate of Luka Doncic. He would be akin to what JJ Barea was when he was a part of the roster with the Dallas Mavericks, someone who understands Luka, gets along with Luka, and more importantly, understands what makes him tick. So having him as a valuable resource and as a player would benefit the Mavericks and what he is benefit him for what he is at this point in his career and benefit the Mavericks for the experience that he brings to them as part of a team that's looking to make a deeper playoff run. I'm not saying that he's the Goran Dragic of, 5, 6, 7 years ago, but what he still is a good secondary playmaker with experience that could really help this team. This is the same Mavericks team that thought that JJ Redick was going to give them something as a veteran in this league at the late stage of his career. And he was working basically on one leg, with the Achilles stuff.
I might take that. Might be something my fault. I kind of pissed him off in the press conference that one day, so that might fall sorely on me.
Well, you didn't get him angry enough to where he was out here running around with the bum Achilles. That was before he got here.
Well, I might have made him angry enough to make him believe that the fans weren't believing him anymore, and then he was like, what the hell with Dallas? I don't have to put up with this.
Well, he must have overcome it because he was very complimentary of the city of Dallas when he announced his retirement. But if you were willing to trade a second-round pick to go get a guy who was at the very end of his career,
which was a terrible idea,
you should be willing to be able to bring on a guy who still has something left as far as Dragic is concerned. And more importantly, again, his reuniting with Igor Kokoskov, the lead assistant, who I'm presuming is going to be the lead assistant for the Dallas Mavericks this year, alongside Jason Kidd. And more importantly, a teammate of Luka Doncic when they won Eurobasket together. Like, it makes all the sense in the world that he would want to come here.
All right. I mean, if that's what we're going with here, if that's what we're going to do that here with him, okay, that's fine. I'm just not seeing. This is what me and my guy Nico, Nico Harris, a new GM.
Of course,
talks about this giving up second round picks. We're not going to be doing that anymore either. We're not going to be doing that. Trading draft picks for just bringing in guys. We're not doing that anymore. So
I mean, low key, they really don't have any to trade anyway. So
we're good.
there's also that.
We're ceasing that under the Nico Harris.
If we're gonna keep it all the way 100, they really don't have much to trade with anyway. So
don't we get our draft pick back this year? Don't we get one of our draft picks back this year? This season?
No.
Oh God. Well, at least we'll have a second round pick. See, we got to start we got to start dumping these guys that we don't want and start getting back some draft picks. At this point, hopefully that's what Nico starts doing. Let's start looking at Tyrell Terry and guys like that we don't need on the roster. Let's just give them away for a draft.
Don't do Tyrell Terry, man. He's working some things out. He'll be all right.
I'm gonna say this, okay? I like Tyrell Terry, but I don't think Tyrell Terry is a player in today's NBA. Okay, I know everybody believes in him. Everybody loves him, but it's time to cut bait, okay? He can't guard anybody. He hasn't
even played a game yet, hardly.
I watched him in
How do we know?
I watched him in Summer League, okay? He can't guard anybody. He can't really shoot over anybody. He's just a small guy. He's just not it's just not maybe he just doesn't fit with the Mavs. Maybe I should say that. I'm not going to say he's not an NBA player. He just doesn't fit with the Mavs, especially what they're trying to do as far as defense-wise and spreading the ball and moving it around. Who's he going to get minutes over? Because he's not getting minutes over Jalen Brunson. He's not getting minutes over Reggie Bullock.
I mean, right now he's a rotational player, that. We don't even know. We honestly don't even know that, to be honest with you, because we haven't seen him get on the floor, really.
Well, I could rotate him out for another player, and we can or some draft picks, and we can make this thing happen. Just give me some time. Don't worry. Me and Nico, we're gonna GM this team right to the top. Just give us time, Mavs fans, Fanatics view. Just give us time. Me and Nico, we're gonna get this roster together. I promise you. We talked about that at the when we did the Tim Hardaway, Reggie Bullock, and Moses Brown announcement, all that. We did all that. I had a good conversation with Nico. I told him, listen.
And I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. So they have their 2022 first round pick. It's the ones in 2023. This year in 2021,
so we do have
they didn't have one. Yeah, the ones in 21 they didn't have. In 2023, they don't have. Now the 2023 first round selection is top 10 protected in 23, 24, and 25, which was a part of the Porzingis trade.
We got the 2022. Listen, I'm going to be watching college basketball heavily this season to find us a 3-and-D. I'm going to be looking for 3-and-D in the first round. You mark my words. I'm going to do that. 3-and-D first round is what I'm going for on that one, KG. And that's all I'm going to say on that Mavs segment right there. I'm going to be scouting 3-and-D when college basketball starts.
All right. You let me know how that goes for you.
I will.
You let me know.
All right. So up next, KG, as you see there at the bottom, we got around the association. And this is the part where we go around the association and we talk about basically what's going on around the NBA news and stuff like that. So I guess, do you want to start over there with the team that's actually, hold on, let me zoom out here. With the team that's playing in my background right here, Brooklyn.
I guess Brooklyn and Philly, because both of them got drama.
Both of them are dumpster fires right now.
Yeah, got drama going on. I guess let's start with Philly because, with Philadelphia, apparently news coming just today from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Athletic Shams Charania, but apparently the Sixers and Rich Paul, who is, of course, Ben Simmons' agent, are in talks in terms of a resolution to bring Ben Simmons back to the Philadelphia 76ers here in the very near future. Wojnarowski saying discussions are ongoing, and the plan is for the 76ers to continue to canvass the league for an acceptable trade. The Sixers, however, also want to convince Simmons to try and remain with the team. I got news for him. They're not going to convince him to stay with the Philadelphia 76ers, but the fact that they're able to potentially bring him in as far as this season is concerned is something that I did not think would happen, because give Ben Simmons credit, whether you like him or not, or feel like his trade request is ridiculous or whatever, he's been sticking to his guns about this, and he has been very forthright about his feelings about not wanting to play with this organization ever again, and been very true to his actions about not showing up in Philadelphia, regardless of how the Doc Rivers gets down on first take or whatever, practically begging on first take for Ben Simmons to show up. So what's your thoughts on this with Ben Simmons and Philadelphia and the drama they've got going on there? Because I don't think he ever plays a game with them ever again, even if they are able to get him, quote unquote, back in market as before the season starts.
Well, Kevin Gray, this is what I know as a businessman like myself. When an agent is coming back to the organization and saying, we're going to try to convince him to stay, that means that they can't find anybody to trade for him. Either nobody,
or they're tired of him not getting his money, because the 76ers withheld the $8 million plus from him for not showing up at the beginning of training camp.
That right there should be enough to tell him you need to go back and play for Philly. I'll get you a trade in the middle of the season, but you got to go back and play. But if you're having to convince him of that A means, like you said, he doesn't want to come back, and B, they're open to it because they can't find anybody to trade for him right now. Nobody. The damage is done out on him to where, what are you going to give up to give him? See, Kyrie and him made sense, because that's giving a headache for a headache right there. When you say, I'll give you Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons, because let's think about it. Ben Simmons
is that really getting a headache for a headache? Because that one headache, and Kyrie Irving said, I'll quit if he gets traded. So
not even headache, problem for problem. Okay, my problem. I got something that can fix your problem. You got something that can fix my problem. Because actually, Kyrie Irving and Joel Embiid actually could be a pretty good deal to me. That's why I bought that trade up initially when it first happened. I said, man, the best thing for Brooklyn to do is call up Philly and see if they can get Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons would fit perfectly with Kevin Durant and James Harden. You got a guy who doesn't want to shoot the ball, and all he wants to do is pass and plays defense. Perfect. Excellent for them. Kyrie Irving, put him in the trade package, get him out of here. Then we hear Kyrie says, well, if I get traded, I'm retiring. All right. Then you hear the report. Kevin Durant says, no, don't do it, or whatever. Okay. So first off, I'm a little mad at the organization for listening to what Kevin Durant and them want. Okay. We got to do what.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you listen to a two-time NBA champion and MVP and NBA Finals MVP? Why wouldn't you listen to him?
Is Kevin Durant going to quit on the Brooklyn Nets if they get rid of Kyrie Irving tomorrow?
No, he's not going to quit.
All right. Exactly. So all that you want him here. Listen, your friend
Kyrie was the one that helped recruit Kevin Durant to Brooklyn.
That's great, but who did they pay? Who did they pay, and who didn't they pay? Who just got a contract extension?
Both of them did. Kyrie got their contract extension.
But I think Kevin Durant is fresher, and actually Kyrie is up for another extension if I'm understanding. I think Kyrie is up for another extension because his contract is up. I think after, if not this season, next season. I think so. But we'll check the facts on that later. But at the same time, they have already come out and they have already paid him. And guess what? They were getting ready to pay James Harden too, but James Harden is the one who said, wait, hold up. let me wait on that a little bit. Let me see what's going on here before I accept that contract. I still want that flexibility. But Ben Simmons coming back, I feel like he's gonna have to A for his money, and B because they can't find a trade partner right now. Now the only team that I think I told you this the other night, the only team that I see matching up money wise, and you don't have to give up a lot of picks to trade for Ben Simmons, is probably John Wall right now. That's the only person whose money matches up with Ben Simmons to where you won't have to trade a whole lot to get back for him. Because if you're another team, you got to give up a lot, half the roster, damn near to get Ben Simmons. Well, I'm not gonna say half the roster. You have to give up some pretty good. Like if you're Boston, you're gonna have to give up Marcus Smart or something like that. And Boston's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Look, I don't know how this thing ultimately ends for
He'll be back.
The Philadelphia 76ers, but at the same time, this has gone way too far already. This should have been done in the offseason to move off of Ben Simmons to go ahead and make sure that you had a clean slate. So we were mentioning Kyrie Irving.
Nobody wanted him.
His deal is up at the end of the 2023 going into the 2023 season. So he'll be an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2023.
What's his 21?
Mm-hmm. So he's got this year and then the following season.
Right, but they wanted to, if everything went right, they were actually looking at extending him, going ahead and giving him an extension.
Yeah.
Last season to go ahead and just get it out the way. But I guess whatever happened, they pulled it back, and now they've taken that money and they said, "Hey, Kevin Durant, here you go. Here you go. Your boy was acting up, so here we go."
Because Irving, I believe, was eligible to sign a 4-year,
yes, he was.
$188 million deal.
They're not offering him another contract. They're not.
Well, that's going to be up to Brooklyn because part of the deal was getting Kyrie there to help recruit Kevin Durant, which they did, and then you trade for James Harden. So, look,
you don't need him. You don't need him at this point. Listen. Let's be honest.
No, I don't believe that either.
You used him what you used him for. Okay, now you got it. Move on. Kevin Durant is not going to quit on the team. He's got James Harden. Now, if they didn't have James Harden there, then yeah. But when him and James Harden cook this year,
they need a healthy and available Kyrie Irving to win a championship. I don't believe. Well, I'm saying that's what they need. They need a healthy and an available Kyrie Irving to win a championship for Brooklyn. I don't think Brooklyn wins an NBA championship without Kyrie. I don't see them beating the Lakers in the NBA Finals without Kyrie Irving. Like, as much of a head case as he is, as much people want to get on him or how they feel about how he gets down with this business, he's a phenomenal basketball player.
Phenomenal.
And you could tell how much he was missed in the Eastern Conference, semifinals against the Milwaukee Bucks. Kevin Durant could have used a healthy Kyrie Irving in that semifinal round against the Milwaukee Bucks. Ultimately,
if James Harden was healthy, they would have won.
I don't believe that either.
I believe it. James Harden just wasn't healthy. Of course, I'm a big time James Harden guy. Any guy that can go to the club one night, come back and give me 37 points, that's my guy right there.
Well, here's what Kyrie Irving does for you. Because I'm assuming that Drew Holiday gets the assignment against James Harden. Who, if you're Milwaukee, do you have left now to try and guard Kyrie Irving at this point? Nobody.
I'll tell you this too. This is one of.
I guess one thing to defend a two-headed monster, a three-headed monster in Brooklyn. You can't defend all of that. No one can.
Well, who's the three-headed monster? I'm sorry. I'm thinking you said Milwaukee. But here's the thing, though. You know who would have helped him out if he had actually played last year to step up while Kyrie was gone? If Dinwiddie was there, they could have won that series.
Dinwiddie's a good player.
Yeah,
good player.
All they need
but he's not a difference maker in a series against a team like Milwaukee. Kyrie Irving is a difference maker in a series against Milwaukee because, again, who's guarding him on the Bucks? Who's guarding him for 7 games? Nobody.
That's fine. But the points that they missed, Dinwiddie would have gave you some of those points. Because
but he was
Kevin Durant wouldn't have had to do air. There was outside of Kevin Durant, there was really nobody else who could score the ball because James Harden was hurt.
that's my point. That's my point.
Dinwiddie could actually shoot and go to the basket. They had nobody outside of that.
Kyrie Irving's an elite ball handler, a very good shooter, and a good playmaker. Like he's more of a point guard more than a pass guard. But at the same time, that's what you brought in Kyrie Irving for, was to be a difference maker and a dynamic scorer. They're going to miss that. And, part of the news too today, also around the association, Steve Nash has resolved himself to say and acknowledge the fact that Kyrie Irving's not going to play in home games.
He's over it, man. He's over it. That's a coach that's over it.
So,
this guy has been nothing but problems for Steve Nash since he got there.
Well, here's the thing. If Kyrie Irving decides ultimately not to get vaccinated, let's say the Brooklyn Nets make the NBA Finals, and let's say the rules as far as mandatory vaccinations in New York and all that hasn't changed by the time you get to June of 2022. If the Brooklyn Nets are in a Game 7 on their home floor, guess who's not playing in the NBA Finals in Game 7? That's Kyrie Irving. That is a massive deal. If all things stay the same relative to what they are now, Kyrie Irving would not be available for a potential Game 7 of the NBA Finals. That could be the difference in winning or losing an NBA championship. Now, do I ultimately think that he gets vaccinated? I do ultimately think that he does get vaccinated. But this could be a very dramatic difference in how this Brooklyn Nets season goes if he's not available to play for 41 of the 82 games that the Brooklyn Nets play. And also, here's the other part. They will go to cities this year, Brooklyn, where if Kyrie Irving's not vaccinated, he can't play there either.
Well, we know
Hello, San Francisco. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Toronto, they try to put you in jail for
it. That's what I mean. So this is a lot bigger deal than I'm sure most folks give it credit for because they don't want to, deal or hear anything about with Kyrie Irving. But if you're a Nets fan, this is a hell of a deal for him not to be available for at least the 41 home games, and in some cities where, vaccinations are required. So, like I said, ultimately, I think he does, but at the same time, it remains to be seen with Kyrie Irving.
Kevin Gray, how many games are in a NBA season?
82.
Okay. This was the 2020? Was this 2021 season or 2020-21? So let's go. If he played, how many seasons did he play in? 19 and then 20. Wow. Okay. So in the past years, okay, last year Kyrie Irving only played 54 games last season. Okay, and the year before
out of a possible 72. Last year they played 72.
Oh yeah,
they played 72 games last year
because they started. They started on Christmas. Okay, played 54 games, and then the year before they played 20. I don't even need to go back for. I don't even need to go back any further because the numbers probably won't be good there either. So
he was hurt a couple of seasons ago. He's hurt.
Yeah. He's hurt every season, especially when it comes around playoffs too. He's hurt around those times. But to your point with Steve Nash, he's over it, man. He's tired of hearing about it. He's tired of talking about it. When a coach come in and say, I've already game planned for him not being here. Okay, we're moving on from that.
That's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
What's he supposed to do? I
mean, I understand that, but I'm saying that doesn't lessen the impact that Kyrie Irving's going to have by not being available. Like, championship aspirations are on the line if he's not available for 41 of the 82 games. And again, some of the road games that they play.
Well, he missed 54 last season, so he's okay with missing this many numbers.
And guess what they didn't do? They didn't win a championship.
Which is why the Brooklyn Nets were willing to trade him this past offseason because they're like, no, we're not doing this.
Which is why Kevin Durant was like, actually, nah, we need this dude.
He had to go up there. He had to go up there and fight for his buddy. Now, if rumor corrects me or not, I remember a couple weeks ago I saw a report that came through that said Kevin Durant had talked to Kyrie Irving about getting the vaccine, and Kyrie Irving was open to getting the vaccine. And now, what happened?
But that's what I'm saying. I think ultimately he does. But we're talking about this as it stands right now. He's not vaccinated, not going to be playing in home games. And if things remain the same as they are in terms of the rules and mandates for vaccinations in New York, he's not going to be available in the playoffs for home games, which is a big deal for a team that's trying to win a championship. Again, I ultimately think he does get vaccinated to the point where he will be available for most games, barring injury. But at the same time, as it stands right now, he's not. And that's a problem if you're Brooklyn.
Which is why I would understand. Which is why I said you let James Harden and Kevin Durant start cooking and start winning. Guess what?
They're not winning a championship if it's just those two. They're not doing it. They're not winning. I don't know if they come out of the East if it's just the two of them.
Those two once before have tasted the NBA Finals together. They've tasted
it
before.
They did.
They've tasted it before together. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were to get back there. I mean, other than Milwaukee, really, who's there? Really, just their threat to put them out.
That's all that matters. There's the one team that knocked them out last year that now has the experience of winning a championship. And Giannis is another year better. Drew Holiday's another year better. Chris Middleton's another year better. Like that's what I mean. I'm not saying that they don't get to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm saying they don't win a championship without Kyrie Irving. They just don't.
You doubted my guy. You doubted my guy James Harden is what it is. All right. I mean, you let my guy James Harden get healthy and get back in that playoffs. Okay. Listen. Can you imagine the nights at Magic City we gonna have if we were to get in the playoffs and get to the finals? Can you understand how many times we gonna? Man, you just don't understand what's gonna happen there.
Well, James Harden wouldn't know about that now, would he? He wouldn't know about that, would he?
Yeah, he ain't a player. He just crushes a lot. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, crushes a lot of fans' hearts by not showing up in the playoffs. Yeah,
you gotta let that go. That was in Houston. We put that behind. We put that behind. That was in Houston. You know, that was a whole ordeal. Houston.
I don't know why he's saying "we" with that Mavericks shirt on.
I'm talking about the play of James Harden. The play of James Harden is what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, another situation. Last night we saw the Lakers take the court, and Russell Westbrook wasn't a good showing for him last night. A lot of turnovers. As my guy,
the sun came up today.
Yeah, it's my post-game buddy. As my post-game buddy Billy calls it. You know, he was in the kitchen with those fresh baked apple turnovers last night. The game, just handing them out to the crowd. Those turnovers. And then he made the comment, he can turn over as much as you want. Nobody's going to do or say anything about it. And I was like, oh, okay. He's yeah, we are.
What lie did he tell? What lie did he tell?
Well, there is somebody who will say something. And if things get too out of hand, you know him, guy from Akron. We will have to sit down and have a conversation with him just in case. I don't know what's going on with my collar right now. It keeps folding back up. I keep folding it down.
You keep perpetrating it after you made them James Harden comments is what it did.
Okay, maybe that's what. You know what? Yeah. Get this, man. We done enough already. But yeah, he's you say who's lying about that? I just think that LeBron will probably have a conversation with him because that's not what we brought him here to do. We brought him here to win, okay? And that's what the plan is, okay? For us to win. That's what
I'm not too concerned about Russell Westbrook. The question is, will his shot selection get better? Which is no, because we know what Russell Westbrook is throughout his entire career, and that's fine. But what he does need to be now is the guy who's going to be the primary ball distributor and ball handler for this team. So yeah, he's going to turn it over quite a bit because he's going to have his hands on the ball most of the time. Because this is what this move is for me. LeBron James is going to chill for the regular season.
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook is going to be the guy that's going to be the point guard handling the basketball. LeBron James is going to be conserving energy throughout the regular season. He's going to let Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis do the heavy lifting. And when it comes playoff time, number 23 is going, number 6 is going to show up.
Slingshot will be engaged. The slingshot will be engaged.
So as long as this Lakers team, wins 50 games or more, is a top 4 seed in the Western Conference, Westbrook's going to have his nights when he goes off. LeBron James, when he feels and decides like it, he's going to have his nights when he goes off. But Anthony Davis is going to be the one who's going to be the focal point on this team. Things are going to run through him. He's going to be the starting 5 this year. If he remains healthy, is going to be in the MVP conversation. And as long as the Lakers, like I said, win 50 games or more, defensively, they should be okay. They won't be great. They've gotten a lot older. I mean, this is the AARP of the West. in terms of the Lakers.
Man.
So defensively, they may take a step back, but as long as they're a top 4 seed in the West, that's all that matters by the time you get to the playoffs.
Well, my guy, LeBron, we can't get up out of here until we get Kareem. Once we pass the GOAT, Kareem on the all-time scoring list, then we'll be considering hanging this up. So, and then we definitely want to get us another championship. So right now, the game plan for LeBron is another championship and pass Kareem on the all-time scoring list. But most importantly, though, we got to get the mailman this year. We got to get the mailman this year. Got to.
Here you go with this we again.
Got to catch the mailman.
This we stuff.
Yeah, we got to catch the mailman.
This is the clear path. We're impartial on this show.
Well, I'm being unbiased,
except for the Mavericks part.
I'm being a little bit unbiased. I'm trying to be unbiased, but I'm just letting you know what the game plan is. Okay, the game plan is to pass the mailman Karl Malone the all-time scoring list. Okay, that's what the game plan is.
Okay, all right.
And
LeBron's advocate.
and
okay.
Get a championship. That's what the game plan is. That's what we're going with.
Right.
Other than that, listen. There's not really too much going on in the NBA, but other than this Kyrie Irving drama and this Ben Simmons deal. So I was gonna say, shall we move to our NBA award predictions then? Since you feel like there's nothing going on in the league and the association right now. Not a whole lot going on there, other than the drama going up there in the East Coast. But yeah, let's do that. Let's go over to the awards part of the show, and this is the segment where basically we're going to tell you, I guess, who's going to get the awards this year, like MVP, sixth man, defensive player of the year, things like that. Who's gonna win the championship and things like that. Now, I'll go ahead and give it to you, sir. Who do you believe is going to be the champion this year?
Oh, we're going to start with the NBA champion.
Okay. Championship.
Well, clearly you've heard me, go on and on and on about how I don't think Brooklyn's going to win it if Kyrie Irving's not potentially available. I do, as of right now, I do have the Lakers as my favorite to win the NBA championship. That is respectfully to Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the reigning defending champions. I do think that LeBron James is on a mission. I do think this team is motivated after what they dealt with last year, getting dump trucked in the playoffs by the Phoenix Suns. And I don't think LeBron James wants to have that taste in his mouth about after what happened last year. So I'm going to go with the Lakers as my front runner, as you would like to say.
I am a front runner. I don't know if you heard in that last segment, I was doing some supreme front running for James Harden.
Yeah, for James Harden, clearly.
And LeBron.
LeBron James. So I got the Lakers right now as my favorite to win the NBA championship.
That's very touching. I'm a big time LeBron guy. I would love nothing more than to pick the Los Angeles Lakers to win the championship, but I just can't do that this year because there is a team that has been chomping at the bit at getting back to the finals, getting back to the taste of a championship. They were bitten by the injury bug 2 times back to back. And I think that this year is the year, they got a guy coming back from injury. The threes are going to be raining. The Splash Brothers are getting back together. They're going to be reunited. The Splash Brothers will be reunited.
Wow.
Kevin Gray.
Boy.
The Splash Brothers are back, and the Golden State Warriors will be the NBA champions this year. Mark my words. Okay, you heard it here first.
Wow.
Golden State Warriors. Matter of fact, I need to get me a Golden State Warriors polo. Now I'm glad you reminded me of that because that's who I got winning this year. I need to get that polo ASAP. Matter of fact, I might order it here in the middle of the show. Just get it out the way.
That's a hell of a limb to go out on. Definitely a surprise pick for an NBA champion.
You didn't see that coming. You didn't see that coming. You probably thought I was going to take Brooklyn or Portland or somebody like that. So you guys are already counting my guys out. But don't worry about it. They're going to be back. And they're going to make some noise. Listen, they are getting a prominent player back in Klay Thompson. And the threes will be raining it down. I didn't even. I just saw the other night. I watched them play last night. I didn't even realize they had Otto Porter. I didn't realize that. That is a nice key addition. So you got Otto Porter and Wiggins either coming off the bench or doing whatever, and then maybe they can get Maybe they can get
Ab-
Wiseman back to play a little D down low. This team, we still got Draymond. Draymond's gonna Draymond, you know. And
well,
the one thing I liked about them too that I think they're gonna go with this year that I love that they did last year was Draymond was more of the point, which allowed Steph to be off the ball more. I think they're gonna bring that back this year. And if he's doing that, you're gonna have him off the ball, and you're gonna have Clay rolling around that 3-point line hanging out. This could get pretty crucial. We're gonna find out. I was checking to see the other night. You said you don't know if Clay is gonna be starting at the beginning of the season. I'm hoping that he starts overnight because you know that it's gonna be Lakers and the Warriors on opening night.
yeah, as far as I had understood and seen that he will not be available yet at the beginning, of the season. So still working back from the
Oh,
ACL and the
oh,
Achilles injury. So
even better. That means that when it's just going right, we just drop him in there at the right time, and everything just fizzles out, and that championship run just
folks gonna
comes
listen
back.
to the show. They're gonna be like, "Who is this we he keeps talking to and referring to?" He got a Maverick shirt on, talking about we this with James Harden, we this with LeBron James, we this with Klay Thompson. They're gonna be real confused here in a minute. Like, who is this we he keep referring to?
It's nothing personal. It's just business. It's just
Oh,
business. That's
okay,
all it is. Okay.
okay.
If front running is a habit, that's all I can tell you. It's just a habit. Okay. Nothing. It's nothing. It's just a habit. But yeah, you're gonna drop him right in there, and everything's just gonna fizzle itself out. You mark my words. Golden State Warriors will be back in the in the championship hunt this year. I got to win the
Okay.
championship all the way.
All right. All right.
So next up, we'll go to the MVP awards. Well, I'll let you go first on that one. I'm pretty
I'm.
sure. I'm pretty sure I know who you're going to take on this one. I won't be
Oh, do
shocked by this.
you?
Yeah, I'm not going to
Let
be
me.
shocked by this pick that you go
Let's
with.
see
Go
if you
ahead.
can guess it. Let's see if you can
I
guess
don't have
who.
to. I don't have to guess. Go ahead. I know where you're going here. I know exactly where you're going here. Let's go ahead and homer this show up real quick. Go ahead and homer it up. Let's do it. Let's go with it.
It's not a homer pick when you think it actually is going to happen. There's no reason to me to not believe that Luka Doncic won't win the MVP this year. Now, I thought the MVP talk was a little early last year. I thought he would be a top 5 MVP candidate. But after what he did in the playoffs this past year and how I think this team is going to improve, if this team wins 50 games and finishes in the top 4 of the Western Conference, Luka Doncic is going to win the NBA's MVP. Because when I look at the top 4 teams in the Western Conference, Anthony Davis is the only one of the top 4 teams who I believe who will finish in the top 4 who would challenge Luka Doncic for the MVP in the West. Because in the top 4 in the West, I have the Lakers, the Jazz, and the Suns ahead of the Mavericks, who I think will finish as the 4th seed this year in the West. So Anthony Davis, to me, would probably be the front runner. Chris Paul probably won't be in the running. No one from the Jazz necessarily will be in the running for the NBA's MVP. So again, if Luka Doncic has the gaudy numbers, which I expect him to have, they win 50 games and finish as a 4 seed in the West, Luka Doncic will be your MVP this year, I think. Because they're not going to get it to Giannis. Giannis is not going to win the NBA's MVP. Again, Nikola Jokic, I don't think will win the NBA's MVP because part of the reason why Nikola Jokic was able to win it, not only was he fantastic throughout the whole year from beginning to end, like he came in phenomenal shape, played his guts out every single night, extremely talented, balling out in the play. Like he did everything he could. Nikola Jokic could very well defend the MVP, but I don't think the Nuggets finished in the top 5 of the Western Conference this year. So I think that allows Luka Doncic to slide just in there ahead of Jokic. So I'm going with Luka Doncic as my NBA's MVP this season.
What a shock. I didn't see that one coming. You never cease to amaze me. This is what I talk about you. This is why we got you here. You're America's sweetheart. You can do no wrong. You can say no wrong. They're going to hang on to your word. It's good as gospel. It's good as gospel. But
now, Kevin Durant may have something to say about that, but that's why I'm going. I'm going with Luka right now.
That's a good point, but that's not my pick either. Okay, my pick is a guy who I felt should have got it, who was in the running to get it last year, but
I was about to say, I'm glad you didn't say Klay Thompson because I thought you
oh
were going to say Klay
no,
or something like that.
He kind of fizzled out towards the end. At that point, Joel Embiid and the Joker just ran off with it at some point. At some point, but this guy here, listen,
LaMelo Ball,
No, hell no.
Lonzo.
He's big time. Okay.
No, I know how you love the Ball brother. So
I do love the Ball brother. I love the
I
Ball
figured,
brother.
Alonzo sighting,
No,
LaMelo sighting.
No.
I know you like the Chicago Bulls this year, but DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic and those boys
I'm
out
really
there.
not a fan of that. I'm really not a fan of that. I really wanted DeMar DeRozan here in Dallas, but that's another story for another day. Way to go, Dallas, for moving in on that deal. But a guy. Listen, he plays no games out there on the court, and my watch is telling me that it's time for him to win the MVP this season. He was close to winning it this year. Something tells me that Dame time is going to be coming up in this MVP season this year, and I got Dame Dollar, make you want to holler, coming up.
Okay.
This season. That's who I got this year.
Another surprise pick. Okay.
Dame Dollar.
I like what you're doing with your picks, man. I like you going out there. You're going out there real far on those limbs. But good for you. I don't know how that thing. I don't know. Look, I don't know if I don't even know if he's gonna have his running mate by the time we get to the end of the season. For him to be able to.
Don't worry about that. We're gonna make up for it with all the 3 points we're gonna bust at the half court line. That's what's gonna happen.
So he's gonna be the step back Jack guy, not Luka, huh?
Well, okay. We don't call him step back Jack. We call him Dame time. Because he's on time, man. But it's like Jesus. He may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. Time with him.
All right. So you got Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard for MVP. Okay, all right.
And if I had to take a runner-up, I'd actually take Steph Curry to be the runner-up for MVP.
That's not a bad pick. Now that's not a bad pick either. If he gets them to a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, I wouldn't be surprised if Steph Curry got a lot of love for NBA MVP. As we move right.
You were in the arena last year when he put that 60 up on the Mavs, even though he caught a hot L. I mean, he didn't come to Dub City that night, but he still put up 60 in the Mavs.
Old stuff.
I'm just saying,
it was more. It was that one night that Kelly Oubre went off for 40.
Yeah.
That was a
Don't
weird
worry,
night.
he's not my MVP pick. He's not my MVP pick.
Where the hell
is Kelly Oubre now?
I have no idea. I think he went to Charlotte. I think he's in Charlotte. Did he go to Charlotte?
I'm gonna look him. I'll look him up and see.
I think it's Charlotte. NBA Rookie of the Year. So I love Scotty Barnes in Toronto. I love his defensive mentality. I love him as a player. But I do think Cade Cunningham wins the NBA's Rookie of the Year for the Detroit Pistons. Jalen Green, though, he's gonna have a lot of opportunities to score a lot of points in Houston because they got nothing down there. So he's going to have some nights where he's going to have some real big nights. They're going to maybe win 15 or 20 games. But Jalen Green's going to have a lot of chances to go off. But I'm going to pick Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons to win the NBA's Rookie of the Year this year.
That is a fair assumption. That's a fair assumption. I can't fight you on that. But I'm going to go with a guy who I talked to on draft night and who let me know there are no holes in his game. There are none. After he was drafted to the Orlando Magic. Okay. This guy hit a big time shot in the tournament.
Okay, I like that.
And I believe
that.
Jalen Suggs will be the Rookie of the Year.
I like that. I love the fact that he gets to play with Jamal Mosley. I think that he will have a terrific time playing with Jamal Mosley. Mo Bamba clearly is, liking playing for Jamal Mosley right now too. He's handling business in Orlando right now.
I'm gonna tell you something. He has the best young roster today. He fell into a perfect situation because that is a good young roster. Now I think they still got Markelle Fultz. You got Jalen Suggs coming in. You got I don't know what's going on with the Jonathan Isaac situation. He's like Kyrie. He don't want to get the vaccine. Fine.
Right.
So, I'm not here to tell people to get the vaccine or don't get the vaccine. You want to get it, get it. If you don't want to get it, don't. Live how you want to live. Ball out for all I care. You got Jonathan Isaac, you got Mo Bamba, you got Suggs, you got Markelle Fultz. You just got all these good young players, man. And I just think Jamal Mosley fell into a really good situation.
No, I agree. I love Jamal Mosley as a coach. I think he fell into a great situation with a lot of young guys there that will allow him to be the kind of player development coach that they want him to be. So I think he fell into a great situation there, and I hope the best and it works out for him in Orlando because I like Jamal Mosley a lot as a coach.
All right, so we've reached the pretty much the final segment here that we're going to do tonight or today, I should say. the final countdown, and that is the segment where we're going to predict the best in three worst. You want to go organization or teams? This upcoming season. I'm sorry, over the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, we'll go with the franchises who, I thought ESPN did a really interesting piece on the NBA future power rankings, predicting the best and worst franchises over the next 3 seasons. Now, this took into account player management, money, salary cap situations, all the things that you would think about from an organizational standpoint that would give you an idea that an organization would be good or not for the next 3 seasons. And what I found compelling was, now they had the Mavericks. They surveyed folks like Tim Bontemps and Bobby Marks, salary cap guru, so guys like that. They had the Mavericks at 13th, which I found to be really curious because you've got a young superstar in Luka Doncic. You've got a relatively young-ish roster because they're not young. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about the Mavericks is that they are a young roster. They are not. They are young in terms of playoff experience, but they are not young in terms of actual age of their basketball team. But here's what's interesting about the Mavericks and why 13th is really a little weird for them, because they had Brooklyn at number 1. Now, Brooklyn they had at number 1 because their player factor was around, they had the highest player, ranking as far as their 3 biggest stars are concerned. Now they're going to be deep in luxury tax for a long time, those kinds of things. So money-wise, not great. But the Mavericks are interesting because Luka Doncic's extension kicks in at the end of this upcoming season. His 5-year, $207 million rookie max extension. Kristaps Porzingis is owed over $30 million over the next few seasons also. The Mavericks are not really going to have salary cap space coming up here in short order. So this is why this summer was so important for them to try and make somewhat of a splash, because coming up here in the next few years, they're not going to have the requisite cap space to do anything to go really get anybody of significance unless they're able to pull off a blockbuster trade. That is why it's so important for Porzingis to be the kind of player that he needs to be for the Mavericks, because if you're a detractor of his and you don't want him, he has to rebuild his trade value so that you can try and go get someone else in the future to get you to the championship levels that you may think that you should be as a Mavericks fan or someone who supports the Mavericks. Or Porzingis becomes a player that he's supposed to be so that he is the player that helps the Mavericks become, a championship team. So I thought them being at 13 was interesting relative to who they are and the players that they have. The Knicks came in at 12. Atlanta came in at 11. The Sixers at 10. You had the Clippers at 9. You had the Jazz at 8. You had the Warriors, your favorite team, at 7. The Mavericks Phoenix Suns, I'm sure they are. The Phoenix Suns at 6. Now, the top 5 was interesting because they had the Miami Heat at number 5. Now, they brought in your boy Kyle Lowry, also, of course, with, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, going into you love you some Kyle Lowry. You know that.
I'm not a fan of that guy anymore.
But they have, I believe, will be the NBA Coach of the Year in Eric Spoelstra there. I've loved Spoelstra for a long time as a coach, and I think he does a phenomenal job there.
I got Mike with Rob last year, but that's fine.
that is true. That's 100% fact. Denver at 4, the Lakers at 3, and who they had at the top 2. I'm going to see if you know who they had at the top 2. I think I said one of them just a second ago, but
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee at 2.
When they get ready to fire the coach? When they get ready to fire the coach at the end of the year last year? Now they went to number 2.
Won a championship, man.
Okay, and then Brooklyn. Okay, how's Brooklyn number 1? How's Brooklyn number 1 over the Lakers when
the Lakers are the AARP of the West. They're old.
Right, but that organization is actually ran the way you want to run an organization. They can get players anytime they want.
Are they run the way that you want them to run, or they just get lucky?
Well,
because I don't think Rob Pelinka is a great general manager. I think he's a good general manager that's been able to make some solid moves around LeBron James. It's very easy when 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA are like, yeah, I want to come play in Los Angeles regardless of who's running the organization, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So it helps that you are the Lakers.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's necessarily Rob Pelinka doing a great job He's had to make good moves. I think he's made some solid moves, obviously, to help them win a championship. Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, when they were there winning a championship. Now they brought them back to try and help them win a championship, bringing in Carmelo Anthony, moving on from Kyle Kuzma. So they've made some moves, but I don't know if Rob Pelinka is a great general manager. I think he's a solid general manager for the Lakers.
Now I'm a little bit mad at Melo because Melo, he told the story about.
Well, Melo's ring chasing at this point. Melo's ring chasing. So,
but when Melo told the story about how he got to LA, about LeBron called him and he said, "What are you, the GM or something now?" And I hate that he let that cat out of bed, because there are a lot of people who come at me, at the barbershop I cut in and say, "Well,
you and I know LeBron James been the GM ever since he set foot in the league, 20 years ago. Like, come on, man.
We don't have anything to do with that. We may
Here you
have
go with this
say,
we stuff again.
We may have a say so, but we are not the GM. Rob Pelinka's the GM. We just give him a helping hand in that scenario, as far as who we think we should go after, who we think we should sign, who we think we should do other things with. That's all it is. But LeBron James has no ties to no GM titles or anything. Jeannie Buss runs the team. We respect Miss Buss. We understand what she does, and we respect Rob Pelinka. We just offer.
You keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself that.
But I just don't see how Brooklyn is that, and they have a head case situation going on. They don't even know what the hell is going on over there with their players right now. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to this Mavericks deal, okay? Okay, so 3 reasons, or maybe 1 or 2 reasons, why the Mavericks are 13, okay? Because they're going off based off last history. They haven't really seen Nico and Jason Kidd or Nico, we'll go Nico, in a free agency yet. So that's probably why. Because they're basically still going off of Donnie and Rick on that deal, okay? Then you had the sexual assault thing. That's why they got put at number 13. Those are the 2 reasons why they got put that low.
Mm-hmm.
Those right there.
Yeah. And look, it is what it is, but at the same time, when you look at these organizations, I think based on the factors that they use, I think they were just fine.
Right. And you know what else? Remember when that article came out about the Mavericks, and they said, "Well, we don't know who to call and who's making trades over there. We don't know who to call and talk to in regards to trades or whatever." That's probably another issue that got them bumped down trade, because they're like, nobody knows who to call and talk to over trades over there. So that's another thing that hurt them too.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, that should be cleared up now. That should be very cleared up now with going forward. Your man Bob Vulgaris is no longer there.
They got rid of my guy Bobby V about a week ago.
Yeah, so he's no longer there. So things should be very cleared up now.
Yeah, well, we knew that when we found out who the new GM. We understand that it's Nico at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Once he got it brought on. Who were the other teams? I really feel like Golden State actually should have been number 1 on that list. Just being honest, Golden State does great.
Golden State came in at number 7, so not too far away.
That's kind of low for an organization that is as good as them. I mean, they do it. If I had to pick a team that does it right, they do it right. Like, there is nobody really has. I've never really heard too many bad things about the organization, and they get it done over there. They sign their players, they keep their players, they draft correctly. They got everything in line. That organization should have been number 1. Just being honest. I don't see how I think Brooklyn just got it because they were able to pull off a trade and get Kyrie. Was able to sign Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and then pull off a trade for James Harden. I just think it's more than that. I just think it's more than that than to be the number 1 organization. I think the Golden State Warriors are the organization in basketball right now.
Well, they're gonna be deep in luxury tax for a long time, long time.
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, they've got it. I mean, they've been willing to pay a high luxury tax bill, but they're gonna be in deep tax for a long time, because you got to pay the piper at some point with all these contracts that they have.
Where did Boston come in at? Because that's another good rent organization.
Let's see,
They should be like behind the Lakers.
They're right behind the Mavericks at 14.
Wow, Mavericks really?
Yeah.
That's who made this list again?
Several, yeah.
Should have known. Damn it, should have known. That would be number two. That would be a number two organization for me because Danny Ainge, man, he pulled off some stuff, man. He made that team
He
really
also
good.
never really utilized all the picks that he hoarded for years. Like Danny Ainge just sat on
But he
all those
did.
picks for
He did.
forever.
But he didn't have to. I mean, let's think about it. He flipped those picks into Kyrie Irving and Kemba Walker and other pieces to put around. So but that's what you got to do. You got to stockpile picks. Like in a couple years, guess what? We're gonna be talking about OKC. Like, damn, they got all those draft picks, but guess what? They flipped it into something big. Now,
Yeah.
where is that?
Well, I mean,
Now, OKC is probably at the very bottom, but that's a team that should be a GM who's actually handling it correctly and doing it smart. I'm gonna pile up all these draft picks, and when the time is right, I'm gonna strike it. I'm gonna go get somebody. I'm gonna bring somebody here. When the iron is hot, or I'm gonna draft somebody real high, and I'm gonna build this team up the correct way.
well, he paid for it. He paid for it, but
It's the
hopefully
ultimate
Brad
sacrifice.
Stevens do better.
Right. Because Danny Ainge, what didn't he stepped down, right?
Yeah, Brad Stevens runs the organization now.
Right. So and listen, I have nothing bad to say about that. That is my coach right there. Love me some Brad Stevens. When he was here one night after the Mavericks game, we had a good conversation. Very nice gentleman. Very nice gentleman. I have nothing but nice things to say about him and Coach Billy Donovan up there in Chicago. Great coaches. Great coaches. Great guys. We sat down and had a great conversation.
We'll definitely be hearing a lot from Chicago, definitely on this show throughout the year for sure.
Yeah, maybe so. Just don't. They're like real guard heavy. They don't have too much height either. Like DeMar DeRozan can't really shoot threes, so I guess you put Lonzo Ball at the point, you put DeRozan at the two, and maybe you put Zach LaVine at the three. But man, you putting him at the three. That's asking for trouble. You basically asking him to stick like LeBron,
yeah.
and KD and Greek Freak, and it's like, oh man, don't do that to him. And then they got what? Vucevic? No.
Well, DeMar DeRozan clearly didn't want to win nothing. He just wanted to go get a final payday, which, I mean, good for him. If that's what he wanted, great. But you talked to LeBron James twice before ultimately deciding to go to Chicago and take their money because they were willing to give it to you. You don't want to win a championship, and that's fine. Just tell me you don't want to win a championship. And he did, I guess. Look, DeMar DeRozan told me he didn't want to win a championship by telling me he didn't want to win a championship by taking Chicago's money. So, right. But that's fine, though. I get it.
Should have been in Dallas Maverick. I'm sorry. He just should have been in Dallas Maverick. I mean, that would be the perfect fit for the Mavericks right there if you get DeMar DeRozan. That would have been perfect.
I'm sure Mavs fans feel the same way.
Well, what you had that going on, then you had the uncertainty of also at that time trading for marketing at that time. But see, this is why they got put 13, because when stuff like that's going on, you're not able to be a part of that and make moves. That's what gets you put there, because the Mavericks shouldn't. When you look at the roster from the past couple of years, there's no reason the Mavericks shouldn't have cap space and have draft picks to be in there, because it ain't like the Mavericks had just that cold of a roster. You had G League and D League players on the roster this past year, and that it just makes me so mad thinking about it. I'm glad that era was over with, and I really hate to take a shot at my guy Donnie like that, because me and Donnie, we drafted Luka together. You know the story on that. We drafted Luka together, but the coach, he was so gainfully employed here. My God, I'm just glad it's over. I hope he does better in Indiana, but I don't think he will.
Well, he's got a team that can definitely finish in the top 4 or 5 of the Eastern Conference. They'll be a well-coached team. He's obviously a championship head coach, but he's got a good roster with Malcolm Brogdon and Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner. He's got a good roster there in Indiana that will be a top 4 or 5 seed, I think, in the Eastern Conference by just virtue of having Rick Carlisle as their head coach. So Indiana's going to be...
I want to ask you a serious question, Kevin Gray. Does he go up there and try to employ that 3-point shooting massacre that he did here in Indiana? And if so, who's his 3-point shooters on that team?
No, I don't think so. I think one thing that Carlisle has been, very good at, he's a very good offensive mind, and he knows how to adapt to
Really?
different. Well, look, he turned this team with the Mavericks into the most efficient offense in NBA history. And he did that with a point guard who was ball dominant, but found a way to turn guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, and others into good NBA players who turned themselves into very integral pieces of the Mavericks. Rick Carlisle is a great offensive mind and has been so for a long time. Now he's got a situation in Indiana where he's got two really talented big men, some good guard play with Brogdon and others there. He'll be just fine and find a way to adapt his offense to what they do and the strengths that they have there. But Rick Carlisle will be fine in Indiana. He's comfortable there, knows the organization well. They know him well. And now he'll have a chance with a very young, talented roster to make some noise in the Eastern Conference this year.
Let me make sure I got that right. I'm going to write this down. Right. You said Rick Carlisle was a great. Oh, I'm sorry. Great
offensive mind. Yeah.
Offensive mind. Great offensive mind. I'm writing that down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come back to that later on in the season.
Sure.
So when they're not good, and you say he was a great offensive mind, I want to write that down because you're America's sweetheart. Your word is good as gospel. There are people who are going to see this clip and they're going to go with you on that. And I just want to make sure I get that written down here.
Because they're good, smart basketball people.
Good.
You're right.
Those are good, smart basketball people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got great offense. Well, I just need you to help me out with something. It's great offensive mind here. Mm-hmm. And you said he turned Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway, and stuff like that.
Did he not?
If he turned those guys into, what did you call them? What did you call those players?
Oh, I'm sorry. Breaking news here on the Clear Path.
Oh no.
As of 34 minutes ago.
Oh no.
Sixers All-Star Ben Simmons has arrived in Philadelphia and took a COVID test. So Ben Simmons is in Philadelphia.
What did I tell you? He's coming back. He wants that paper. We gotta get that paper. That money, that mean green do something to you. That mean green do something to you when listen, it was all fun and games until they told them they was holding that money. Once they told me it was holding that money, it was like, hey, well, hold on, we weren't expecting y'all to do all that now. Wait a minute now. We'll be there on Monday.
Additionally, Adrian Wojnarowski says that the Sixers are hopeful to start moving toward the next steps of return with Simmons. Per sources, organization wants him back on the court once he clears protocols, but that remains to be seen. So I think we should end it on that.
Listen, I tell you what, Kevin Gray, Ben Simmons should take a page out of the book of Kawhi Leonard. Okay. Remember that whole fiasco? Oh, my calf and my leg is hurt. I can't play. I got to get all this treatment. I'll come back and play one game for you or whatever. But I'll play one game until you trade me.
Well, I think he made his point. I think the Sixers made their point, but we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, well, I tell people all the time, there's loopholes in these contracts. Yes, the NBA's money is guaranteed, but there's a loophole somewhere in the contract that states you have to play probably a certain amount of games. You have to be here for a certain amount of such and such or whatever, before you can get paid. There's no reason to believe that a contract is just guaranteed without any kind of indication that of something like that. So Ben Simmons, I'm actually proud of him. I just told you a few minutes ago, he'll be back now that they hold that money. They weren't holding that money. He'd still be somewhere in the I ain't coming back. When they told him no, we're gonna hold this money, it was like, wait, hold on. Somebody maybe Rich Paul pulled that calculator out and was like, wait a minute, they gonna hold how much? Taxes and Ben dog. Hey, listen, man, I'll call him and see what's up. But you gotta go back, dog.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you gotta go back. Well, big shouts out to Ben Simmons. Wish him the best of luck on his future endeavors. Kevin Gray, you want to tell the people where they can find you at?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. I know this is a basketball show, but I may be auditioning for the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, no, man.
Seeing as they don't have one anymore.
They fired him?
John Gruden quit.
Oh, he quit. That must have just happened. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he quit.
Wow.
So
That
you can
must be
find
such
me.
epic.
You can find me in Vegas, trying out to be the head coach of the Raiders. But no, in all seriousness, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports, and on the home of the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan.
Oh man, I'm sorry. We'll talk about that off air. You can find me at FrontRunner88 on Twitter and Walt Chism on Facebook. You can check my show out sometimes. BFB. It's over on we aired on Facebook and Twitter. Airs there, and it's also on YouTube. BFB, you can check me out.
Oh,
But,
yes, and you can also subscribe to Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube as well.
I was just going to say you can subscribe to look up BFB DFW, BFB Dallas, BFB Mavs, BFB Cowboys. Look us up and subscribe to the channel. But yeah, other than that, man, we'll be back here next week. So hey, if we don't see you around, then we'll see you around.